Hello, my name is Teddy. I am a money coach and social worker. As you can see, I brought cookies today. Something I learned working with people is that people care about two things, keeps their attention: food, as y'all have with cookies, and then money. So I'll have a $20 to give away later if y'all are interested. But the reason why I brought the cookies is I want to share a little story with you. So I don't know about you, but I have a pretty strong sweet tooth. I love my cookies, my donuts, pastries, all those things. The thing is, whenever I want cookies, I don't want just store-bought cookies. I want to make them myself. I get those little, Betty Crocker, Duncan Hines, $1, $2 mixes. Grab the ingredients, and then that's how I make my cookies. The thing is, whenever I get this craving, the cookies are not already made, right? I'm like, I'm craving some sweets, some chocolate items. So I will go in the pantry, take that cookie mix, and look at the recipe and ask for butter, egg, water, mix. And it says to preheat the oven to 350 degrees for 15 cookies or whatever. But me, being as impatient as I am, I put my little elementary science cap on. If I set the oven to 450 degrees, it'll cook faster, right? If I melt the butter instead of soften it, it'll mix easier. If I do 25 small cookies instead of 15 regular sized cookies, I'll get my cookies in like 5 minutes. Make sense? Anyone else like me? The thing is, whenever I did that, the cookies came out kind of like, those black spots on the road, which is gum run over by, tires. It looked kind of like that. Very crispy on the outside, very liquidy on the inside. And I'll still eat it. Like, it's not bad necessarily, but it's not great. You're probably wondering why I'm sharing a cookie baking story when I'm here to talk about financial wellness. I'll tie it all together, I promise. Yeah, that's me. I'm the cookie monster. I'll come back to the cookie story in a bit, but who am I? My name is Teddy. Like I said, I'm a money coach and social worker. I help young professionals take control of their money to have a rich life. That's what financial wellness is all about. I specialize in overcoming financial stress and just toxic spending habits. And the name of my business is Lion Lamb Money, and kind of the idea of how I walk people through taking control of their money is what I call a spending detox. I don't know about y'all, but I get stressed about money. Anyone else here get stressed about money? Perhaps you may feel overwhelmed, anxious. You get a little notification, say your electricity bill's coming up. Living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you have debt, credit card debt that keeps building up, or you pay it off and then another emergency happens and then the cycle doesn't stop. Or just constant conflict with your spouse, with your boss, with your dog. Like, money stress bleeds into all areas of our life. I want to walk through what I see a lot of clients experience when it comes to feeling stressed with their money. I call it the money stress cycle. We start off getting a little anxious, a little overwhelmed. Perhaps a boss yelled at us at work, and we're like, you know what? F this, I don't want this job. And then you're like, you know what? I need a paycheck, so I got to come back to work. And it goes into this fight, flight, or freeze response. We're fighting with our spouse. Maybe we feel frozen, don't know what to do, and we're just going day by day, making it. We're flighting, avoiding altogether. Put our little horse blinders on and start shopping Amazon, Target. Sound about right? The thing is, whenever we act out whichever fight, flight, or freeze, often we feel a little bit of shame afterwards. Maybe we want to be isolated and not tell people about our money problems or our spending addictions. And then the cycle repeats itself until the next trigger comes, the next event comes up, car crash, medical emergency. Maybe your husband just breathes wrong. I don't know. So today I'm going to walk through the 3 ingredients to build a rich life and combat this cycle, so you don't have to keep living in the cycle of stress. And the myth that we believe is that this is just how it's going to be. Dealing with money stress is just how life is. However, The truth is, it doesn't have to be. So I'm going to walk through the 3 ingredients. So why does this matter? Why are we talking about financial wellness? When you have less money stress, watch this, you have a happier life. I know, I took 6th grade math. The thing is, when you have less money stress, it means you can pursue your passion. You can start the business, or you can just give generously. Whatever that looks like for you, that financial freedom picture, you can do that. Now, expectation for today, are you going to learn everything about personal finance in the next 40 minutes? That'd be crazy, and I wouldn't have a job, right? No. But what I hope you walk away with today is that you can know there is another way to live with your money. That you take uncomfortable action and change your life. So, the 3 ingredients to building a rich life. The first one is to have a plan with a purpose. So a little bit of audience engagement here. If I had $10,000 for you, which I don't, obviously, but if I did, what would you use the $10,000 for? Pay off debt? Build savings? Go traveling? Invest it? Maybe give it to someone? Here's some interesting things you can use $10,000 with. You can buy a couple of designer bags. You can buy 1,000 Chipotle burritos. Or if you're feeling a little bougie, you can get some guac, but it'll cut it about 250 burritos. You could pay for about a week at Disney World for a family of 4 if you're including travel, hotel, and all the fixins. Or if any of you like to stroll Costco or Sam's or just anywhere that have a bunch of these TVs that are really pretty, you can stack 10 or 20 of those in your house. The thing is, you can also do other things with the $10,000. You could pay rent for half a year. You can get an associate's degree at a community college. You can get a pretty decent used car, a 2015 Camry. Or if you stock it away in your retirement, if you throw it in at 25 and you wait until 65 to retire, it'll actually be about $350,000. If you wait until 30, it's a little less, 40. But that just shows the power of what just $10,000 can do planning for the future. Talking about knowing what you're planning to spend the money on so that you can build a future like this. Anyone here want to be a millionaire? No? All right, we've got a few. So what are your thoughts when you think of a millionaire? Like, what do millionaires have, lifestyle-wise? Luxury? Time? What if I told you being a millionaire is not this far-fetched, like, us versus them thing? Here's what's interesting. So the top 3 professions that become millionaire, the most frequently occurring professions, number 1 are our engineers. Number 2 are our accountants. And number 3 will shock you. Teachers. You must think that my data is wrong, right? Well, this is based on a study of over 10,000 millionaires in the US. And what's really interesting is that in order to build wealth, you don't have to earn 6 figures. You just need to have a plan with your money, sock it away in a pension, in a retirement, pay off a house, basically planning for the future so that you can have the time freedom, you can have the freedom to start the business, go out on trips, and all that stuff. Now, just to clarify, millionaires are not billionaires. Billionaires are 1,000 million, and that's who the people that we're thinking about has the luxury and all that stuff. So being financially well isn't about making a lot of money. It's about using the money you have to build a life. Not just feeding your lifestyle. And when you have a plan with your money, whether it is a spending plan, a budget, or just a general direction you're going in, you have control. Here's the thing, if you don't control your money will control you. Anyone here have debt? You see those payments come out every single month. You see the interest payment, $50, $200 in interest. That's just money that's going to the bank. So the takeaway, plan to build your life by being proactive with your money, knowing where your next dollar is going, not just being reactive. Because life happens, right? We lose the job. Our pets get sick, a hailstorm, if you live in Texas for any span of time, will ruin your roof. We're being proactive, building the savings, planning on what are we spending on today that'll build our life tomorrow. That's how you build the wealth. And back to that millionaire study, I think it's about 1 in 10 Americans become millionaires. So if it's 300 million Americans, 30 million millionaires. And you can do it too, right? Teachers aren't known for making anywhere north of 90,000. So the first ingredient was a plan with a purpose. Ingredient number 2 to build a rich life, people for connection. I want to share with you a story about when I started this business as a money coach. The reason why I got into this business because I love personal finance. I love talking life change in terms of social work. That's how those two came together and started this business as a money coach. And I was excited. I was like, I'm gonna blow up on TikTok. I'm gonna go viral. I'm gonna help all these people. Who doesn't need financial literacy? Who doesn't need help paying off their debt? But here's the thing they don't tell you about business. You get a lot of haters. People that aren't supportive, people that don't believe in you. You know what was super hurtful? My number one hater was my dad. I tell him, this is what I want to do. I want to build this business and help people, reach people to pay off their debt and build that future. Now, he's an accountant. He's like, Teddy, I'm an accountant. They come to me for financial advice. They're not going to go to some social worker. I bet you, this is starting my second year of business, if you don't make a single dollar this year, you have to promise to give up the business. I was like, bet. All right. The turning point was I was connected with a community of other coaches, other people who are actually successful in the field, who show impact of $200,000, $300,000 in debt paid off, where they bought their first house. And one of those mentors kind of just hopped on a phone call and was like, Teddy, it's going to be hard. Life's hard. Life still happens when business happens. But every day you show up is one more chance to impact someone's life. So here I am. A couple weeks later, I signed my first client. A couple weeks after that, I signed my second. And then my third, I was like, ha, Dad. I don't have to give up the business. In your face. Now I'm here, being able to speak to y'all, hopefully to help you transform how you view your money and how you treat your money. I realized that I had 2 types of relationships in my life. I had poor relationships, meaning poor in quality, not poor in money. And these look like feeling judged by my decisions, feeling unsupported, or feeling like I'm just working to please other people. Any other people pleasers out there? I also had rich relationships, deep relationships that really believed in me and that supported me at my core. These people helped me feel like I wasn't alone in my endeavors. I felt encouraged to actually take the step and that I could be authentically positive and negative. So Jim Rohn says it, you become the average of the 5 people closest to you. So think about if you're surrounding yourself by poor quality relationships, how do you expect your mindset to change? You'll kind of become the sum of that. But if you surround yourself with people who are encouraging, pushing you to grow, believing in you that you can do the thing, then you can do it. We are our own limiter for what we could do in life. And we can control who's around us. Setting boundaries with unhealthy relationships, seeking out new ones. Y'all are here at a wellness conference. You're meeting people, you're meeting vendors, you're meeting each other. These are your rich relationships. So the takeaway, limit your poor relationships and invest or build your rich relationships. So takeaway number two, ingredient number 2 is people for connection. Now on to the last ingredient. I think y'all will like this. I had a lot of fun putting this one together. I want to tell you another story. So I was reading a book to my daughter the other day, and I grew up not a reader at all. I hate books. I think it's boring, and I rather watch a video, movie, play some video games. But I found out if you're really animated reading these kids' books, kids actually like it. So I tried it, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. I thought that was the cutest thing ever. And here's the thing they don't tell you about kids' books. Apparently, they have life lessons in there for adults as well. One of those stories, I don't know if you've heard of it, is The Tortoise and the Hare. Now watch this. My lovely animating skills here. We got Mr. Tortoise and Mr. Hare. And for those of you who don't know, the story is basically seeing, will the tortoise or the rabbit or the hare win a race? And it seems pretty obvious. It seems like if I just move really fast and try really hard, that's the winner, right? Here's how the story goes. The rabbit starts going. He's going. Look how fast he is. Like, he's so far. But he's like, you know what? I got time. I got 30, 40 years until retirement. I can chill. I could spend a little bit of money. So he takes a little snooze, a little nappy nap. All the meanwhile, Mr. Tortoise over here is like, I'm just going. Bit by bit. Before he knows it, whoa, caught up to a little sleeping hare there, right? And he keeps going, and he keeps going, and he keeps going. Look at that, the underdog. He won. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So why do I share this kids lesson with y'all, right? This children's book. Let's talk about what hare progress looks like when you're working with your money. I like to refer to it as this progress, regress cycle. There are these seasons of just like high motivation. You know, you're working the overtime, you're selling all the things in the house, you know, you're just saving money, you're cooking at home. And then that weans off about month 3 or 4. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live a little bit. I want to go on that vacation. And then after a while, you look at your bank account and you're like, oh, shoot, I got $500 in here. I got to not fill my gas tank up all the way. I got to stop at $25. I can't fill it up. And it just repeats this cycle. This up and down roller coaster of these high emotional moments where you make great progress and lows of falling behind. So what does tortoise progress look like? Everyone say it. Slow and steady. So this looks like lifestyle changes, the small things that add up. It's having work-life balance, having just those periods of overtime to get you money, but also knowing I'm taking my time off to spend with my family. I'm taking time off to come to a conference like this. And also, keeping things simple instead of complex. There are a lot of fancy ways to build wealth. They'll talk about stock trading, they'll talk about real estate, cryptocurrency. You can juggle all these accounts, but really, the money plan that'll actually give you success is the one that you can stick to, the one that's not overwhelming. That's what it is. So the takeaway is being financially well is a marathon, not a sprint. I realized I didn't say the third point was patience. I don't know if you caught that. But yeah, the third ingredient for a financially well life is patience. So to recap, you remember Mr. Cookie Monster? So here's the problem that I had being Mr. Cookie Monster and patient self. I wanted those cookies. I was stressed out. I want to eat my feelings. And so I pop them in the oven and rush it. I didn't read those instructions. They say soften the butter, leave it at room temp for a while. They say, preheat the oven before you put it in. I put it in when it's at 150 and just let it heat up as I go. I didn't follow a plan, the recipe they gave me. I did not check my buddies on the internet to say, hey, can I actually use completely melted butter for this? And obviously, I wasn't very patient. So I want to wrap up with this lesson that a motivational speaker taught me in high school, and you'll kind of see why it was memorable. So I have a $20 bill here, and part of the reason why I brought y'all up here is just to make it easier. Who would want this $20 bill? All right, we got 4 people that want free money.
Thank you.
Everyone give a hand. What's your name?
Estelle.
Estelle? Congratulations. Oh, that's yours. Keep. I'm just shaking your hand. You're probably feeling a little bit of regret, frustration, or even bitterness towards me. Teddy, you didn't tell us to walk up there. You just told us if we want this money. Here's the thing. Those $20 opportunities passes by every single day. Every single $20 impulsive purchase is that $20 lost. Every time you're holding on to some, piece of furniture that's partly nostalgic that you could probably sell for $100, that's those $20 opportunities that we're missing out every single day. I don't want you to let this be another presentation about personal finance, about being well. I want you to remember that in order for the things you want in life, wanting is not enough. In order to get what you want, you need to take uncomfortable action. Be willing to get up out your seat, risk the embarrassment, risk being ostracized by your circle, to try something new, live a different way, and ultimately change your life. So I have a little bit of a gift for y'all. It's been a pleasure being at this conference. Thank you to Angela and Mercy for inviting me to speak. Because y'all are here investing in yourself, I wanted to have an offer just to help support you in your financial journey. So if you're a young professional, if you're feeling stressed about your money and you want more money with less stress, a clear plan for what you do with your next paycheck, and a safe space to talk about money without the shame, I have a little money stress reset for you. It's where I work with you one-on-one to build a plan to get that $10,000, right? Or just establish boundaries with those relationships to further your career without adding pressure onto your family, whatever that is. And so what this looks like is that we'll get a financial snapshot, organize what your finances look like, get you a money plan, or some fancy people like to call it a budget, and a spending cleanse is what I like to call it. Basically, seeing where money is leaking out your pocket. This is just one-on-one work, very personalized, so that you can experience the value of focusing on your money. And I just want to offer that to you, no cost. Like I said, my capacity is only 9. So I developed this bingo card as a fun way to engage with your personal finances. Not just how to earn the most money, how to save the most money, but how can we get behind the psychology of what's actually keeping us from working on the money. Let me know if you've said this. I don't have the time to put a budget together. I'm too busy. I don't have time to cook the meals. I got 3 kids yelling at me after soccer practice. My spouse and I, every time we talk about money, we're fighting, so we just don't talk about it anymore. So these are just small steps to help you in the right direction, change your environment, make those lifestyle changes we talked about in the 3rd ingredient. So something like the shopping app or food app notifications on your phone, those are Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Target. Those are constant triggers, constant reminders that, hey, you need to spend something. Well, we really don't, right? Yeah, some other things in there that are helpful, like check your credit report. Do you actually know all the money that you owe? Perhaps someone took money out that you are not aware of. Identity theft, that's how you catch it. There are 24 items on there. The goal, typically I do kind of like cohorts with this bingo game, that if you fill out all 24 items, which is pretty easy to do within a month, then you're entered in for a raffle. The last winner got some choice between AirPods and cash. She was like, I want the cash, Teddy. I got other $20 Bluetooth earphones just fine. But yeah, she got to use that for her debt payoff. And the thing is, whenever you take these steps, you're going to get so much more than $100 back in your pocket. I had one person cut $250 of subscriptions. That's $3,000 a year in subscriptions. If you save $800, $900 a month, that's about $10,000 a year. That $10,000 we were talking about, you can have that. And the thing is, this bingo game, this financial wellness stuff works if you're making $40,000 or $400,000. Everyone's impacted by financial stress. As you can tell, this presentation wasn't very technical, right? In fact, most of the conferences I go to, I remember like 5-10% of what they told me, but I remember 100% of how I felt listening.
So you made it to the end of the video, which means you take your personal finance journey seriously. So just for you, go ahead and click over here for another video, or if you don't have time, subscribe. But I'll see you in the next one.